I mean, people have been sort of dumping on me for 20 years, like just being upset about this, thing that happened and just then making it personal, kind of attacking me. It just always, hit me wrong.
Legends of Wrestling, one of the biggest events of the year, 10,000 fans in attendance as Ken Anderson takes on David Arquette.
David Arquette as the wrestler sucks.
I don't give a shit about David Arquette.
David, it's so good to see you, my man. Thank you for taking the time to sit down with me today.
Great to see you. Thanks for having me.
So I just watched your documentary, You Cannot Kill David Arquette, and man, there were some scenes that were pretty brutal to watch, especially that deathmatch scene. But I want to talk to you about where your love for wrestling really began. Do you remember your first match you watched, or maybe the first match that you attended?
Yeah, I went to a few matches when I was younger, usually like house shows, which means there's no real belts changing hands. It's more like a touring show. But I remember seeing Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant, and that blew my mind, just seeing them in person, seeing Andre, a real giant. And that was really a huge moment for me. But I loved, as a kid, watching the Rock Wrestling cartoon with Hulk Hogan. I was a big Hulk Hogan fan, and Andre the Giant, and Superfly Snuka, and Macho Man. And when I was doing research for this, I realized that I was in love as a kid with Miss Elizabeth.
Yeah, it must have been really epic, too, to be able to be at such a historical match as well. So what really got you into wrestling? What made you decide this is the next step that I want to go towards in my career? Was it maybe overcoming some type of adversity, or maybe way people perceived you? Where did that begin?
Yeah, it was a lot of that. I mean, people have been sort of dumping on me for 20 years, like just being upset about this, thing that happened and just then making it personal, kind of attacking me. It's not being tough, or I don't have a right to be involved in this business or something. And I was like, what? It just always, hit me wrong. So I wanted to stand up and sort of prove myself, answer all the haters, and just make a movie that was a love letter to wrestling. I really do love the business, and I love the people I've met in it. So I wanted to honor them, and hopefully that happened. I want people to get to know people like RJ City or Bulletproof Brian Pillman, Jack Perry. I want them to see these guys and just hopefully it'll help their careers too.
I got to give you a lot of respect for that, man, because the way that you did overcome or face your adversity, even though, I mean, you had people, I'm sure you had friends, I know you had family that were against it, let alone even, the general public itself. But for you to actually just go out and do it anyways, I just wanted to say massive respect to you, man, because I think it's really important to live our lives to what makes us happy, as individuals, instead of doing what's going to make other people happy and live in their image instead. So I just want to say that too.
Thank you so much. I really love doing this film, and I'm glad you got something from it.
Absolutely. So as somebody that actually has anxiety myself,
Yeah.
what have you found that helps you, overcome it? For me, it's been a lot of breathing techniques,
Yeah.
yoga, meditation, things like that. But what's helped you? And then because the reason I want to share this is because a lot of people are affected by anxiety, and maybe someone will be able to take something away from you, and it'll help them in their own personal lives.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anxiety is a big one. I found working out, just getting that energy out, helps a lot in not sort of pinging my anxiety later. I can have a calmer conversation. I can be a little more even-headed. I don't know. Yeah, breathing is really important. I've also read this book called Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It. And it has this thing where you repeat, like, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself. If you start going down some kind of negative rabbit hole, and it kind of helps a lot. It's like a gradual thing. Like the more you do it, and you could do it in the morning and before you go to bed, and with breathing involved. And it just helps sort of retrain your brain. So when you start going down those anxious sort of rabbit holes, you could block it, put in something positive, and just try to get through it.
Yeah, I found working out definitely helps too. Or for me, it's running. If I start feeling really anxious, I'll just go out for like a 30-minute to an hour run, and it really relieves, that anxiety. Going through that, what would you say is one of the biggest obstacles that you've overcome in your life?
I think there's a lot. I mean, life tends to really throw stuff at you. So, losing a loved one is really painful experience that so many people are going through right now. I can't even handle it. And just, relationships are difficult. But I think the biggest thing I overcame was I have dyslexia, and I had a really hard time reading, and it was super difficult for me. So that has been one of the major sort of things I've had to overcome, and, stop telling myself that I'm not smart, or, I'm not good enough, and doing things like that and reinforcing it with positive stuff. That's one of the biggest things I had to overcome.
Yeah, for me, it's I was diagnosed with Tourette syndrome when I was 12, 13 years old.
Wow.
And so being able to kind of not even take medication, for that, just because they said if I didn't, I would have a higher chance, of being able to actually, grow out of it. And so just being able to face that for me was something that made it, I guess would say would be my biggest, thing that I've faced. What do you want people to take away after seeing this documentary? Because it is very inspiring, and like I said before, like being able to become your own man and like go your own path, no matter what the world around you is saying about you. But what do you hope people at home, when they see this, take away from it?
Ultimately, I just hope they're entertained, that it can provide them some sort of escape during this time, which, it's so heavy and so much going on. But that's really like a few laughs. Hopefully they get into the whole experience. But, I want people to have a better understanding of wrestling, and that that it's not just sort of like, oh, it's for kids or this or that, that there is depth to it. There's a lot more to it than you might see on the surface. And if you get into the storylines, you can really have fun with it.
Thank you for joining me today. I wish you well, wish your family well, and look forward to meeting you in person when we're out in Hollywood. So,
absolutely. Thanks, John.
All right. Take care, brother. Good seeing you.
Take care, bro. You too.
One last time, I have to really prove myself.